40 stories from people who have killed. According to Reddit, number 40. I'm pulling from multiple lists, so if you want to count, I'd appreciate that. Remember being scared and angry as it happened. How could this person be trying to shoot me? Was distant and surreal as the police decided that the universe unfolded as it should have. Felt kind of morally offended that they were not angry at me. Shouldn't I be ashamed and punished? I had shot someone. Isn't that wrong? Why weren't they arresting me? Never been more confused and offended and anguished than when I was fired by the people who hired me for doing the job that I was hired to do. After almost dying and having to kill while doing that job. I tried to write about it later in college, but was told by my fool professor that my story wasn't realistic. People don't react like that in the real world. Okay. That sort of thing doesn't happen in real life. For some reason, that ignorant comment served to push the incident into a place where I didn't own it anymore. Then I didn't think about it for many years. Now if I remember it, it feels like something that happened to someone else, but my heart is racing while I'm typing. Boy, the last thing I expected was to get somebody's like raw feelings as it pertains to what happened to them, and that's great and all. But we're expecting the stories, not so much the how did it feel to you. So in the interest of clarity, the question being asked in this specific thread, and there will be multiple, is Redditors who have killed in self-defense, what was the immediate long-term result of your actions? And now that we know the question a little bit better, I mean, unless it was that I was traumatized beyond belief, we really didn't get a clear answer, which is fantastic. But what am I going to do here? What am I going to do? Here's hoping everybody's having a wonderful night, and that things are making sense so far. Love you. Let's continue. Number 9. Without too much detail, a guy and I got into it at a parking lot. He was bigger and heavier, and he was winning. Instead of stopping and walking away, he pulls a knife out and comes towards me. Fight or flight. There's a cinder block near me. I pick it up and swung it at him, hitting him in the face. I got up to run away when I hear the most frightening scream I've ever heard in my life. The cement block had hooked his jaw and ripped the bottom of his face and teeth off of the rest of his face. Well, goddamn. The employees inside the store called the police. The guy died right in front of me. I still dream about it. That's not good. I just don't get it. The whole getting into fights with people makes me not want to be a participant in this world. Well, number 8. My first time, I was in Iraq on a foot patrol in downtown Tikrit. We started taking fire from the rooftops, and while in cover, we received orders on the net to take the roof. We went into the door of the building and got to the second floor, clearing the rooms as we went along. The 6 guys ahead of me in the line called out stairwell as they passed an opening. Then, as I passed the opening, I trained my weapon up the stairs in a sweep. But instead of looking into an empty stairwell, I saw a man carrying an RPG as he reached the lower landing. Just on reaction, I squeezed the trigger. He looked just as surprised to see me as I was to see him. The image of that sticks in my mind. Or the image that sticks in my mind is the surprised look on his wrinkle-free and shaven face with a pink cloud of blood behind him. It took me about 5 seconds to make the one down clear call that I had been trained to say. In that kind of situation, 5 seconds drags on for an eternity. I don't think I felt anything but surprise at that moment, nothing in the world. No amount of training can prepare you for what it feels like after you kill your first one. I felt numb for about 2 months afterwards. It wasn't until after my third that I had to come to terms with all of it. Once I got back to the rear, I had a long leave to reflect on it. It doesn't get easier. You never get used to that feeling. Some people don't get used to it. It's like a nail in your hand that you can't remove. Well, bing bong, bing bong. Jesus says that entry was read in a past stream, Kyle. I feel like Jesus would be the shot caller here. He'd be the one who knows whether or not it's been read before. I feel like I agree with you, my man. I'm scared that people may not know that I'm here because, you know, we've established something beautiful and sexy on Twitch. Oh well, who knows what the hell I should do. Number 7. I shot an intruder when I was 12 years old. I watched tons of murder mystery shows like America's Most Wanted, Law and Order, as well as plenty of scary movies, so I had a huge fear of being kidnapped, murdered, etc., to the point where it was almost crippling. I felt proud of myself for protecting my family. I didn't feel remorse, and I still don't. What we're going to try is this. Since, as I said, I have sourced multiple lists here, what we're going to do is try to see whether or not some of them I've read from, and if we have, then I'll just, transition to the next one. But as you know, because it's Reddit, the land of reposts, many people could just be reposting their story into another thread that's new. But yeah, a lot of these I'm reading from because I figure I wouldn't have read them before. So, number 6. I had a friend who was the victim of an attempted carjacking who killed the carjacker during the fight. It royally fucked him up. The details as I recall, the friend was stopped at an intersection when the carjacker pulls the door open and immediately puts a box cutter to his throat. Friend manages to grab the attacker's hand and shove him off, and a fight for his life ensues. During the fight, the attacker's head hit the curb just right, and it's lights out permanently. Fuck 'em. There was many bystanders around who all corroborated the events. Still cost my friend $40,000 in legal costs to not be charged with manslaughter. Jesus Lord. When you got a bunch of people that are verbally corroborating what the hell happened to you, and you still got to pay legal charges for some motherfucker trying to carjack your ass at an intersection with a box cutter, you know what I mean? Did he need to get his throat slashed so that y'all will believe him? In this day, it's almost like, and I say this is a joke, YouTube, since you're listening and can't take a joke. Should he have picked up the box cutter and slashed his own throat just to show, hey man, I took a little bit of damage from this. Don't take me to court. 40,000. Do you know what I mean? Is that money that people have laying around? My God.
Welcome back to YouTube, my boy.
I love that his name here is Rich Not Twitch. Thank you for the $5 donation, my man. You have it single-handedly, effortlessly. Oh my God, you just took a giant dump. Right on what? Well, my goal for tonight. Sounds crazy, but there it is. My goal for tonight was $5. Wow. It's usually not like a one-night goal, but whatever. It was $5. I believed in you guys. And there it is. Wow. So as we continue up this list, man, I hope I don't get too bummed out by the world and how things go. We're at number 5. I was walking downtown Toronto back to my condo very early in the morning on New Year's Day when a guy around my age tried mugging me. Normally, I wouldn't have resisted and just handled the wallet and phone, or handed the wallet and phone over and gotten the fuck away from there, but he pulled out a pistol and pointed it 2 inches from my face. The first thing you learn when pointing a weapon after gun safety is never holding it within reach of the adversary. It's way too easy to break the grip. So I pushed the gun away from my face, it went off next to my right ear, and I broke the grip with a wrist bend and a twist. I pulled and rechambered, and I was perfectly fine with keeping the gun just pointed at him and backing away and calling the police had he not pulled another smaller caliber sidearm from his back, so I double tapped his ass in the chest. Hello, subscribers. I know this is a pretty edgy and crazy thing that maybe I shouldn't say on my first night back after having my strike lifted, but here's the bottom line. I'm Kyle. You know, this is my channel. We got here by me being me, and the strike wasn't legit. It was a strike that came in out of nowhere that I didn't deserve. And now that the appeal has been recognized and lifted, coincidentally following the shooting at YouTube headquarters, let's talk real. If someone pulls a gun on you, homie, and you either get a gun out of your own or disarm them and then have a gun trained on them, they have limbs, okay? They have limbs. Don't be afraid to shoot a motherfucker in the limb, especially to keep them down. And you know, this isn't a zombie movie or we're all friends and we need to go somewhere together where you don't need to shoot. You know, like you shouldn't shoot him in the leg because then you'll have to carry him. You know, it's not a situation like that. Somebody just threatened your life, okay? And you want to make sure that they don't try to do it again. Just pop them somewhere. If you don't want to be a murderer, just put him down. Just incapacitate this guy in a way where, hey, let the authorities get here, or the police are getting here, whatever you want to do. You want to prepare a vat of acid. It's a joke. I'm joking. I should continue because YouTube's robots don't understand jokes. So I double tapped him in the chest, baby. He fell forward and I ran over and kicked the weapon away, called the police, and sat there basically shell-shocked with my eardrums fucked. He bled out on the concrete in front of me while I sat on the curb, weapon in hand, completely devoid of thought. It scared the living shit out of me, knowing how automatic my reaction was. There was no emotion in the action, just cold, calculated results. Ooh, easy, big man. That's a big penis you're swinging around. You trying to get some pussy with this post? The police handcuffed me and took me to the station, where the only words I spoke were to my parents and the lawyer. It still keeps me up at night. People tell me that he deserved it. They tell me that I was in the right, but I'll always feel like a murderer. In that moment, I was the judge, jury, and executioner. Oh my God, go to church if you're that freaking, like, scared about it. Ooh, Aaron Deers banned somebody. What did they say? Huh. What the hell does rotating arms mean? What kind of stupid ass name is genitals? Oh, I get it. That's pretty fucking immature. That is immature. That's immature. Genitals. In that moment, I was judge, jury, and executioner, and I knew I needed to go on a mission trip immediately. I'm kidding. And what right do I have to judge another man's life? He pulled a gun on you. Can we just move away from this? I'm scared the bitch is contagious, you know? And not the bitch as in the person, like the bitch niggerness. You know, I'm talking about that's all over him. He's all like, the guy pulled a gun and put it to my face and then I killed him. What kind of man am I? Am I man or beast? Man or beast? Number 4. When I was a teenager, I beat a neighbor's dog to death with my bare hands? Did it attack you? I don't remember what kind of dog it was since I'm not really a dog person. It was slim, black, and had a long snout. The dog was untrained and very aggressive. The owners were junkies and just let the thing roam around the neighborhood all day. It would hunt and eat birds, go through people's garbage for scraps. I was walking home from the corner mart one evening and this dog starts growling at me from behind a car. I guess it wanted my snacks or something. I threw a stick of beef jerky on the ground and instead of going for it, the dog lunged at my leg and started gnawing the shit out of me. I tried to get loose, but the thing was strong as shit. I just started punching and elbowing it in the face until it died. I don't feel bad. It was trying to eat me. Well, that's what happens. I suppose. Son of a bitch. I may have bit off more than I could chew. I love idioms. I'm gonna write a thing of idioms. I'm gonna write a big idiom thing. You could say that I'm gonna write an idiotic idiom. One long group of idioms. Oh yeah. Number 3. I went to South Africa for some reason. Wanted to see the world or some shit. We hired some sick Range Rover to get around in. We had a friend driving, and we pulled up at the lights, and we were held at gunpoint and asked to get out of the car, and they said to us, leave the girl with us. Because his firearm was kind of in the car with our windows down, I kicked the door open as hard as I could, and it smashed the guy's arm, forcing him to drop the gun. He went for his knife. I got to the gun and shot him. He was known for the police for various robberies and rapes. We had witnesses, so we were left off without punishment. Now, as a seasoned and darky gentleman myself, you know, I understand the desire to broaden one's horizons by traveling all over. But what the fuck you doing in South Africa? You know what I'm talking about? What the fuck you doing in South Africa, baby? You know what I mean? You think that's just a place for everybody to go be hanging out? It's like when you hear that story about that one boy, and this isn't something I'm going to elaborate about, so either you know about it or you don't. There's a story of this one white boy who wanted to go to North Korea. So he found some people that would smuggle his ass in there to do his extreme tourism bullshit. When he got there, the North Koreans accused this motherfucker of stealing something or defacing something or whatever. And long story short, he gets put on trial, okay? But when you watch the video of this white boy on trial, it is so clear that the things that he is being made to say is part of a script that they've given him. It's horrifying. They've given this white boy a script. They got him like crying and emoting, and like he's really putting on a show. Like he's acting. You know what I mean? He is really acting. And then they ended up, you know, slowly torturing and then killing this motherfucker. Via, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised if they just injected this boy's skull with some acid and just let him flounder around for a while. And then they didn't want him to die on their soil, so they threw his ass on a plane where he died over here. It was ridiculous. But as terrible as it is, this boy made the conscious choice to jump the fuck out into North Korea. And the one question, of course, that we can all have to that is, what the fuck you doing going to North Korea, homie? Nobody deserves what happens to them, especially when it's, you know, unlawful, let's call it, you know, unreasonable. But boy, oh boy. Number 2 on this list before we go to another one says, I felt absolutely nothing at the time. It took a few days after being home and not constantly having things going on when the thought of everything I had done hit me. It wasn't pretty at all. You always have people telling you it's a war or it's either you or them, but you never forget that feeling of pure shittiness where you know you ended someone's life. It's been many, many years, and I still have days when I get a bit overwhelmed that all of that went on. Let me say it like this, ladies and gentlemen. My heart does go out to many people who have been specifically in conflict, who have basically been in a life or death situation. It doesn't need to be a gun involved, you know what I mean? So many things can be a weapon if used properly, you know? Which is why this war on guns is really fucking hilarious at the end of the day. Because if some people want to make some shit happen, they can make some shit happen, and it doesn't need to be a gun. That being said, my point is this. Sometimes the power's kind of out of your hands. And especially with these people overseas fighting these wars, it's like you're fighting people who are brainwashed, who were born into the situation where they literally had no choice but to be indoctrinated into this way of belief. And in their head, it's just a contrasting ideology, man. We're the bad guys because they know no other way. And we threaten what they have stood for and do stand for now. So if, they want to continue, if they want to exist, what choice do they have but to fight? But the other side of that coin is this. And what I'm saying is basically, I'm covering my own ass, because earlier in this list, I was kind of like being a little dismissive of somebody that took somebody's life. But the reason that I was that way is because I don't view it as the same when somebody makes a threat on your life. Do you know what I mean? You don't point a gun at anything that you don't want to die. And yes, some people are just stupid and childish and ignorant and selfish. And maybe they're just looking for money or the quick score, and they don't really want to take a life. And this isn't really about you. They're just out to get something. But the bottom line is, they're fucking you over for life. You know what I mean? Even if you do get out of there, this isn't something you're ever going to forget. You know what I mean? They're holding a gun to you. This is your life that they hold in their hands, in their incredibly negligent hands. And as far as I'm concerned, at that point, fuck them. You know what I mean? Fuck them. You have money, you have shit that you earn that belongs to you, and somebody else is trying to take that away from you on top of their life. Fuck them. So when you hear me be dismissive of people that are all broken up and they can't deal with this shit because they took the life of somebody that was going to kill them, it's like, would you rather have been dead? Shut the fuck up. Move on. Oh, with your life, as rude as that is to say. I know a lot of people deal with things in different ways, and I'm not a person that would ever make a great psychiatrist, but I'm not trying to be a psychiatrist or a therapist. I'm just a real dude giving you my real opinion. And people can look up reaction videos on the internet until they're blue in the fucking face and fingers. But none of that shit's real. They've trained themselves how to react based on how other people react that are popular so that they can get popular too. And if you're watching that shit, something's wrong with you. I love you. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Oh my God, I'm just kidding. Number 4 on this other list. It wasn't me directly, but I lived in kind of a rough neighborhood, and one day my friend calls me and says that these guys have been following him, and that he was getting freaked out and wanted to come to my house to chill for a bit before walking back home. He was about a mile or two from my house, asked if I could walk out to meet him so that he didn't have to walk alone. I told him he was crazy and he was imagining things. Well, it turns out he wasn't crazy. He was beaten to death after he put up a fight when they tried to mug him. I couldn't believe how selfish I was. I was depressed for about a year after it happened. Now, if one of my friends calls me for help, no matter how big or little the problem is, I help. You told him he was crazy. Okay. Okay. Well, number 2 on this list, before we go to another one, says I was driving an armored vehicle. Damn. And a minivan crossed into my lane. Instead of braking or swerving right into someone's tiny house, I tried to cut across the left lane and into an open field. I hit her van head on. My friend riding in the passenger seat smashed his head on the front windshield, fell unconscious on my lap. I thought he was dead. I stopped the vehicle and made sure he was okay, then jumped out and ran a few blocks while dialing 911 to get to the intersection that I was.
I once saw John Wick kill 3 men with a pencil, a fucking pencil.
An anecdote chronicling the witness to a fictional event in a movie with a character named John Wick as portrayed by Keanu Reeves. Where do we go from here? As I continue the story, thank you for the donation, my man. My friend was riding in the passenger seat and smashed his head on the front windshield and fell unconscious in my lap. I thought he was dead. I stopped the vehicle and made sure that he was okay, then jumped out and ran a few blocks while dialing 911 to get to the intersection that I was at. Ran back to the minivan that I had hit, and the woman was crushed inside. 1 to 2 years later, I was charged with negligent homicide and spent some time in jail. I wish it didn't happen, but she was driving home from work and I was driving to work, and it just did. It doesn't really affect me at all in my day-to-day life. I also killed a few people in Afghanistan, but that wasn't accidentally. Oh shit, this list is people who have accidentally killed someone. How did it happen? Man, I'm wondering if I should scroll a little deeper on this list. Someone says, when I was 9 years old, one of my sister's ex-boyfriends decided it was a great time to shoot up our apartment. He fired 9 times, missing most of the people in the 3-bedroom apartment in the slums of South Phoenix. My sister was there at the time with her new boyfriend. She grabbed his gun, and as he left out the window and started to shoot back at this guy's outside of our door, she stopped shooting, and I hear a thud. She's hurt and on the ground. The guy is still outside yelling, calling her a bitch, slut, whatever. I picked up the gun, went to the barred window next to our front door. I pointed and shot. The gun fell from my hand. I fell back. He fell down. Didn't get up. It was labeled as self-defense. My mom was gone, and I didn't even know my older sister was there with a dude. I just woke up to all of this chaos. I don't think about it anymore, but I don't feel guilty about it. Bing bong. Well, well, well. Here's hoping all of you are having relatively reasonable days and evenings, and that you're all okay to relax right now. It's a good thing to be back on YouTube, I suppose, but it's an even better thing to be able to connect with those of you who are interested in being here. I appreciate you, even if you don't feel like saying anything. So as we continue up this list, which has multiple different threads of 40 stories from people who have killed, I hope somebody's keeping track. We're going to read this entry, which is at the top of this list, but it's not the end. I struck their vehicle with mine. I didn't see them. The husband was decapitated. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and he had been drinking. I was 18, 5 years of depression and heavy drug abuse on my side. I still wish I could change it. I tried telling the family I was sorry, but no response. The screams that day from the wife lay in my nightmares for eternity. Life happens. Damn, baby. I don't even know what to say. Let's just continue to the next one. I'm going to start at what looks like number 6 on this one. This guy says, I'm not sure it counts, but he'll mention it anyway. I made a friend in high school that came up to me one day asking for my advice about a girl that he got pregnant. I didn't know what to tell him. I just said, that sucks.
Yeah, I've totally seen John Wick.
Well, I encourage your John Wick contest, if it's gonna lead you guys to keep donating. But you know, who asked the guys? Oh boy. Oh, I guess you guys have stories since you've seen someone else kill somebody. I meant more like personal, you know? I bet there's somebody in the stream chat right now who has killed that just doesn't want to share their story. This isn't the time or place, they tell themselves. But in reality, it could be. To continue this story, I'm not sure it counts, but I'll mention it anyway. A friend in high school came up to me one day asking for advice about a girl that he got pregnant. I didn't know what to tell him. I just said, that sucks, and I guess I would try to prepare to be a father. He didn't really like my advice, or the lack thereof. The next day, he killed himself. Oh, shit. I may have been the last person he ever spoke to. I know now that I was in no way responsible for what happened, but it still haunted me for years. The idea that maybe I could have been less dismissive and more helpful, and maybe he'd still be alive, filled me with guilt. It turned out to not even be his kid, which only made matters worse. Holy shit. Wow. That is so weird. That is so weird. Wow, wow, wow. That sucks. Number 5. When I was 17, I was driving home from school. My dad was a Marine and he wanted me to carry. What? I knew it was illegal, and so did he, but I kept it under my seat and told nobody about it. Anyways, I'm driving down this old highway that runs directly to my house. This was in winter, so I was already getting dark around 5 p.m. I saw a pile of garbage in the middle of the road. I slowed down and was ready to go around it when it started to move. Shit. A man stood up from the pile and dove in front of my car. Luckily, I was going like 15 miles per hour. It probably still hurt though. I stopped and I grabbed a handgun just in case. He just laid there. I thought I killed him. Nope, he crawled towards me. I walked to him and asked him if he was okay. He was speaking Russian or German or something. I couldn't understand him. He got up and drew a knife. A big-ass buck knife. And I knew he was on drugs. He was foaming at the mouth. He started towards me and I drew my weapon. I told him I am armed and I will shoot if he doesn't halt. He lunged at me and I stepped back and fired twice. One hit him on his left shoulder and the other on his chest. He went down and I called the police. I told them that it was an act of self-defense, was exercised, and that the assailant needs medical attention. I then called my dad. 20 minutes later, the police arrived and arrested me. I talked to my lawyer, and he was very helpful, and we went through trial. Eventually, the charges were dropped. I now am very anxious when it comes to safety in sketchy situations. I went through therapy referred by my wife, and I am feeling better. I think about the guy, though. He just needed help. But it was him or me. And that's the truth of the matter, is that many of the times it's them or you. I really do hope all of you are okay. You seem kind of interesting in the stream chat tonight. I really do hope that I didn't leave anyone behind on Twitch. Wait a minute. I'll do this. This will help. Okay. I'm like sending out a Snapchat. This is my solution. Okay. Now that that's done, we can continue forward. Number 4, my friend was driving on the interstate last year and a woman jumped out in front of his truck. And he hit her pretty hard. He pulled over and got out to see if she was okay, and she was breathing, but it was very shallow and she was fading away. He knows how to do CPR, but he said he was in shock and couldn't do it. She was dead by the time that the cops had gotten there. He later found out her little boy had died a couple of weeks before. She was extremely depressed and trying to kill herself. Jesus Christ. That's a real shitty way to kill yourself, man. Is by making somebody else an unwilling accomplice to your murder. It doesn't seem to affect him though. He's always said he figured she would have found another way to kill herself if he wouldn't have hit her, and I think that's part of his coping mechanism. It ain't part of coping, nigga, it's the truth. What the fuck? Some people want to kill themselves and they're willing to actually do it. They're gonna find a way. It doesn't matter if one way doesn't work out. One way or another, they're gonna kill themselves. They're gonna get themselves. One way. Maybe next week. Number 3. First ever post. Working as a medical technician in an emergency room many years ago. An emergency room. I had to take a patient to our CT scanner. He wasn't from my room. I was helping out another tech. So, I had no idea what his problem was. A nice old gentleman, we chatted a little as we made our way to the door out of the ER, but mostly he was quiet. I said, okay, gonna be a little bump here. It was an automatic door and had a little threshold that you had to get over. So I pushed the stretcher over, it goes bump, and the old guy goes, oh! I look around the edge of the bed and he looks at me, but doesn't say anything. So now, not thinking anything of it, I roll him the rest of the way down the hall to the CT. We get there, the CT technician takes one look at him and calls a code. Much activity and mess later, and they call it the man has died. What happened is that he had a AAA, an abdominal aortic aneurysm, and by bumping him over the threshold, I burst it and he bled out. It wasn't really my fault. It would have happened to whoever pushed him over that bump, but it was me, so I felt bad, especially when I heard his family wailing. And when my coworker, in their morbid sense of humor, made me clean his body and take it to the morgue. So technically my actions directly resulted in a man's death. Oh shit. Sharkhead, why do you write this comment in a way that makes it seem as if that should be a pun? It's because the abdominal? That pun doesn't work, man. If it were like something in his balls, then that would work. You wrote it like it's supposed to be a pun. You know? I don't know with you, man. I want to know who's lurking in the stream chat. So I want you guys to hit me with a lowercase h. By the way, I've gone ahead and added a couple more cute little emojis that I figure you guys might like or hate. So tell me what you like and you hate and what you think should be involved, and we can go from there. What do you think I should add to the emojis there? What should they be? I can't believe so many of you subscribed on Twitch. You guys are so fantastic. I love you. Every second of you, you're amazing. Oh, look at all of you. Jacob, Quebby, William, Joshua, Stefani, Queen, Senpai Queen, Dr. Scam, Visceral Claims, Great Child Faith, Charmaine, Stripes is here, letting everybody know she hates the dragon lolly, apparently. Why? Manny, the Golden Ting, the Dia. Milrocco, Prelude, Faith, More Jelly, Cat Carnival, Skyward Revenant, Zy Lawrence. You guys are all sexually charged. Let's go ahead and destroy this list, though. Forgive me. This is only number 2 on this list, and I think I have about 3 more lists to get through. When I was 14 or so, my father picked me up from school in a conversion van. And when we were driving home, a smaller car pulled out of the parking lot, not 30 feet in front of us. My father hit the brakes, but to no avail, and T-boned the other car. The man driving the car was 91 years old and was more than likely not supposed to be driving. He ended up dying a week later in the hospital from the injuries sustained in the wreck, and it wasn't my father's fault. No charges were brought against him, but after the man died, it really got to my father that he had inadvertently been at fault for killing a person. This happened 15 years ago now, and he still won't talk about it. My mother said that it really bothered him for quite some time. Oh boy. Aaron Deers says, Kyle, can we get a Bill Cipher emoji? The fact that Aaron Deers is the one asking probably lets me know hell to the no, that's not something that's going to happen. Oh, you know what? Why not? I didn't know he was like a little toony guy. Yeah, sure. Why not? Somebody's got to figure that out. I could probably figure it out. But not now. You got me fucked up. As we continue this list of 40 stories from people who have killed, really hope somebody's been keeping count, because I don't know where the hell we are. We arrive at number 2 on this list. And by two, of course, I mean one. Deal with it. Jeez, got me keeping track of all of this. What do you think I am? Okay. What do you think? What do you think I am? What do you think I'm? What? When I was 17, someone broke into my house when it was just me and my younger sister home. I heard him kick in a window, so I grabbed my father's gun, ran upstairs to my sister's room. She was asleep, locked us in, and called the police. He heard me running through the house and knew that I was there. He started taunting me, saying that he would kill us if we didn't stay quiet. Then he tried to break down the bedroom door. I was on the phone with the dispatcher and was screaming at him that I had a gun and would shoot him. I remember screaming and screaming, and my gun... Wait. I remember screaming and screaming at him that I had a gun and would shoot him. I remember screaming and screaming, and my sister just crying because she didn't know what was happening, and the lock broke, and I asked the dispatcher if I could shoot, and then I did. And he died, and I am a killer. It's hard to live in normal society being a killer. 15 years later, even though I am married and have a good job, I still don't think of myself as a regular person. So you've taken the life of a robber. What would any of us do in a situation? If somebody broke in to somewhere they shouldn't have been, they had a weapon, they're threatening your safety. Is this where you just fold your hands and accept death? Because if you need to kill to get out of a situation where your life is in danger, do you or do you not accept right now that it's what you have to do? Okay? And I want everybody in the stream chat that is willing, I'm not trying to put you in a compromising situation or ask you to answer a question that makes you uncomfortable, but if you're in a situation where, let's say, you're at home in the comfort, as they say, of your own home, someone breaks in, they have a weapon, it is clear that they intend you harm and are trying to take from you what does not belong to them. If you needed to kill this person to secure your safety, would you do it? Or would you, yes, if you would do it, no, if you, I guess, would just deal with it and, sit there and hope that they don't intend to take your life? Because if the answer is that you wouldn't do anything and that you would basically just see where they're gonna go with it, then that's crazy, man. You living your life kind of like giving it up to fate? I don't know, man. Rich is like, I'd rather not have to. It shouldn't be about someone you care about being in danger, my nigga. Do you not care about your own life? If somebody breaks in, say the scenario is you have a gun right next to you, and this dude breaks in, and let's say he's got a crowbar or some kind of weapon. Say he's got even like a sledgehammer, something that you know that he just means to take upside your fucking face with this shit, because what he's after is your valuables, and you are standing between him and securing that shit. Whether you're calling the police, whether you're screaming bloody murder and calling for help, this dude is going to fuck you over. Do you kill him to secure your own safety, or do you immediately start with the, please, no, I don't want any trouble, please just leave and I won't tell anybody. This nigga knows where you live. What the fuck are you talking about? Is there anybody who would answer no to this? I just want to know. Jesus said a situation like that wouldn't happen in the first place, Kyle. What makes you so sure? Are you so overwhelmingly sure about your security system and that where you are is just super duper safe and that nobody could get into that? You think that people don't get robbed by people that they know and that they trust? Do you never sleep, Jesus? Because trust me, the fact that you're one of these sorry-ass carbon-based life forms makes you vulnerable at times, dude. What do you mean it wouldn't happen in the first place? Let's talk about it. As I transition into this next one, I keep saying transitioning like I'm a man going into the gender cocoon to emerge a beautiful and sexy lady. I'm a lady now, boys. And I get to go into your bathroom, too. What are you gonna do about it, boys? I'm one of you, and I've got a hot vagina that's even a little bit better than yours. You know why? Because I don't bleed out of it. Doesn't get that dirty, doesn't get gross. I need a douche. I'm one of you girls now. Oh my god, you can't say stuff like that. On this next list, though. Okay. Some guys like, check it out. I created a throwaway account for this one. Only a few very close and friends and family members know about this. I was 22 years old, living alone, and one Saturday morning at around 11 a.m., I had just gotten back from Best Buy. Hadn't even had a chance to get the stuff that I bought out of the bags. I had my carry gun on the living room table, and it was loaded. I set the bags down and heard a knock at my door. I cracked the door with the chain still on, and my apartment didn't have a peephole. Uh-oh. The guy knocked on the door, breaking the chain and pushing me against the wall behind the door. He instantly ran for the table for the gun. Luckily, my home defense shotgun was located behind the door and fired 2 shots into his back. He instantly died with his hand on my gun. The police were called and they wrote a report and confiscated my shotgun, handgun, and the gun that the guy had on him. How did he know that there was a gun on the table? Apparently the cops told me that he had one in the chamber and no backup shots, which explains why he didn't use it once he saw the gun on the table. The guy had only been out of prison for 2 days after serving 15 years for murder previously. What the fuck? Holy shit. You out of prison 2 days and you break into somebody's house with a gun? I considered myself lucky that I didn't end up another victim. And now with a wife and 2 kids, I'm never too far from a gun in my house. That's that's disgusting. I'm so sorry. I keep saying sorry. I feel like I'm apologizing for exposing some of you to this kind of, grittiness. But the world isn't a happy, beautiful place. The world's unfair, and some people lash out because they can't handle the weight of that unfair bullshit on their ass. Which is pretty sad, because that's kind of what happened to that one bitch who went and shot up YouTube. You know what I'm talking about? But she was a woman, so what she did wasn't effective. I'm just kidding. It's not because she's a woman. It's just a joke. It is just a joke. Oh my God, it's just a joke. If you could see the way that I like buried my head into my like like my neck was gone just now. It was like I was a turtle, man. I'm just like, it's just a joke. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Back on YouTube. Somebody stop me. Smoking. And here we are at number 3. I was enjoying a nice evening on the couch while watching TV when this Hispanic dude with a baseball bat jumps my backyard's fence and starts banging on the door. What do you mean your backyard's? It's right. It just looks funny. He jumps my backyard's fences and starts banging on the door, which is glass. He's screaming at me to let him in. He looked mentally unstable, and I told him to fuck off. I'll call the cops. He didn't listen. I called 911, and they said that they'd be there in a minute. So this dude smashes the door, comes in, starts hitting things with the bat. I grabbed the nearest chair and swung it at his head, knocked him out cold. After he went down, I hit him harder in the head again, which I feel guilty about, kind of, whatever. The police arrived and he was taken to the hospital. I had given him severe brain damage. So the next time he comes and he's banging on the door, he's all like, "Let me in your house, fuck you up, man." That's not funny. But why should I have to be nice to people that are breaking into people's homes? See, you don't know where you fall on that category. I'm not making fun of people with brain damage. You know what I mean? I'm making fun of this one guy, So that surely that's in like an okay territory to make fun of, Let me in. You don't know. You don't know what's funny and what's not. At the end of the day. Ooh, everybody's gotta. I don't know what to be offended by. No, I am so offended. I'm still disturbed about it. Yeah, he was Hispanic. He wrote that. He wrote, yeah, he was Hispanic, Ever heard of being descriptive? Why the fuck? Like, can you imagine, like, people are just like, Bink beneath the, hey, Holmes, why you have to write that he's Hispanic in your story? Why couldn't you just let that be not a thing, man? Why you have to include that detail? I'm not teasing Hispanic people with that accent. I am, I don't know, man. I'm just so done. I am so done. You know what pisses me off? Look at Aaron Deers making that basic candy ass I'm a Logan Paul subscriber. I can say faggot on YouTube. Look, my point is, that's a basic joke, man. That's a basic joke. And when somebody said, oh man, there's a shooting at YouTube, and people go, oh man, YouTube demonetized their video. It's a joke. We all laugh, haha. But then it's what happened, dude. She was mad because of the demonetization, because YouTube was doing its YouTube thing. And the thing is, that's affecting everybody. You know, I have subscribers to this channel who don't get notifications of my videos. I have subscribers to this channel who in one month, at one point in time, just suddenly woke up and they weren't subscribed to me anymore. And I, as a person, when I jump up in the morning sometimes and get on YouTube and check my subscriptions, I see channels that I know for a goddamn fact I would never have clicked that damn button on. You feel me? That's some real shit that I'm telling you right now. I go into my subscription sometimes, and there's sometimes I'm an old man. You know, I'm an old man in that I have a shitty memory. You know, very, very bad memory. Ask Hannah, okay? But there are some channels where I can think to myself, this is some really stupid juvenile and corny meme shit. A fight video channel. Did I really subscribe to this? But when I see some candy ass motherfucker talking about like his, oh my God, like he's talking about cartoons, and his whole channel is like a review of some Nickelodeon show, and he's got a fursona that he uses as like a cutout to fucking represent himself when he speaks. And he's just the smarmiest little kid bastard where if you ever met this motherfucker in real life, you'll want to smack this guy, not once, not twice, but maybe 1,000 times until your hand was just worn down to the fucking nub. I know for a damn fact I ain't subscribed to this shit. So tell me why, right? Tell me why we live in a world where the people who want to be subscribed to somebody aren't even being notified of their videos, right? Tell me why we're waking up on YouTube. YouTube platform has such a very simple job. Why we're waking up and we're subscribed to people that we didn't subscribe to, okay? And then worse off, and this is the confusing part, tell me why people are getting Logan Paul notifications when they're not subscribed to him, dude. Holy shit. It's just confusing. It's a real beard scratcher, that one. But hey, I'm not saying that there's I definitely condone anybody jumping up with a gun and going anywhere and shooting a place up. But when this shit happens, a part of us all nods and goes, I know where she coming from. I know where the bitch coming from. Talk about she mad that it just seemed like out of nowhere. Oh boy, let's not get into it. Number 2, a gunpoint robbery at my university parking lot. He asked my dad for the phone and the money. Oh my God. I faked looking at something at his left shoulder, and when he quickly looked to make sure it wasn't security, my man, I am impressed. If this were a woman, my cock would be hard over that. Let me read that again for you guys. Let me read that again. Because I don't know if any of y'all will have the balls to do some shit like that when somebody's trying to rob you. Pretend that there's something behind them without saying, oh shit, look out behind you. You're playing real 4D chess when you can control yourself well enough in a crisis to make yourself just, like kind of flinch and look in a certain direction to make someone else go, oh shit, is somebody behind me? And then you create a fucking advantage. Oh my God. That's somebody I want on my team to play Overwatch. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What the fuck did this guy do? Let me read that shit again. Wow. Can I steal this and put it in a book so that people think I'm an interesting writer? Holy shit. It's a gunpoint robbery at my university parking lot. He asked for the phone and the money. I faked looking at something over his left shoulder. And when he quickly looked to make sure it wasn't security, I pushed the gun down and to his right. and he shoots one time, and then I broke his trigger finger and took the gun from him. Then he moved. I thought he was going to attack me. I shot him in the guts. He died. Pretty damn quick, too. This motherfucker probably just bled the fuck out, ladies and gentlemen. Security came. I told them the story. The police came. I told the story again. There were cameras on the parking lot. Cameras to the rescue. And they fit my self-defense story. I just have to fill out the police report, and that's it. I have a police file with a kill, though. I went to therapy for around 4 months, and I decided that I do not regret it. My man. Holy shit. Can I save this story? Because it's dope. Forgive me for getting a hard cock over it, guys. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I said, you can go online and get a whole bunch of people going, oh my God, reactions at a fucking trailer for some bullshit movie that's going to come out and be forgettable as hell. But you want a real reaction to some shit, this is it. Wow. Hey guys, that's a trick, man. You want a life hack? It should try some shit like this if somebody's gonna... Unfortunately, what if I have like murderers that are like, you know, listening to this and they're not gonna fall for the old, oh, what am I looking at behind you trick, you know? Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Here we go. Number one on this list, but not the, I think I have 2 more left to get through. It says, well, this will go in the thing only Redditors know file. I shot a man. I was 21 years old and with 2 young children, heavily pregnant with a third. My roommate's bedroom door was shut, but not locked. And I was a... boy? I can only read for once. I don't understand contextually. Oh, maybe they mean, and I was a meter or maybe 4 feet from the bedroom door, and I heard a lot of noise on the other side of the door instead of the bedroom. It was nighttime. My roommate was out for the night, and there was no reason that anyone should have legitimately been in the room making noise. I very quietly went to the bedroom, retrieved my gun from the safe, came back towards the bedroom, took up a shooter stance and announced, I am the owner of this home. I have a fully loaded 10mm Glock pointed at the door. I'm calling 911. If you attempt to open this door, I will shoot you and I will aim to kill. I called 911, hit the speaker button, and gave 911 all my info, including that I had a gun and was prepared to defend my home, myself, and the kids. The guy was talking to me through the door, telling me he was going to kill me. I was a fucking bitch, blah, blah, blah. I warned him multiple times that if he opened the bedroom door, I would shoot him. He opened. I shot him. I admit I was not aiming for anything but body mass. He died on the living room floor. While waiting for the police to respond to the original call, I was detained at the scene, but not arrested. The DA decided within 48 hours that the charges would not be filed against me, and the only time that I had to disclose it is if I am ever the shooter in another incident. And that's only because it will look better for me if I tell them about the incident instead of them pulling up the details later. The gun was legal, and I was able to prove that I could not retreat from the danger due to the fact that I had 2 sleeping children in the house and could not move quickly due to a physical condition. I feel bad for the guy, and I feel bad for his family, but I wasn't going to be a victim in my own home because this guy chose to do drugs and break into my house. You damn right, homie. Protect your family. You know, nobody forces other people to do stupid shit. Y'all want to hear some gangster shit? Y'all don't need to hear it. I can show it to you. Watch people die. I'm not gonna show it, YouTube. Calm down. I'm just gonna give my sexy subscribers a little link if they're interested. Oh my god, y'all don't see nothing. What are you talking about? All right. Let's see here. All right, couple having sex in the street. Run over by a car. I was watching this with Hannah at some point. And the question we both ask ourselves is, I get it. People drink, people get themselves into a fucked state of mind where they're not really thinking about what they're going to do, where they're going to go. There's nothing to restrain them, okay? There's nothing to restrain or separate them from the thoughts or the call of the void and things like that. But there's so many places that you could fuck on a street, If you're getting so drunk that the world around you doesn't even make sense, forget it. Forget it. What the fuck? What's wrong with you people? So guys, this has got to be the last list here, right? I'm sure I've done my God, this is a long one. What the F? I'm not reading that top one. Jeez. Someone says okay, this one asks, Redditors who have killed someone accidentally, how did that affect you? Oh man, I don't know about this. I don't know about that one. Okay, what's this one? Redditors who have killed someone by mistake or on purpose. Well, damn. Let's just make sure that I haven't read these before first. Okay, I didn't kill her, but the last time my mom was making suicidal gestures, I allowed my husband to talk me into not going after her. I was almost 30 at the time, and in the previous 15 years of my life, had prevented her from killing herself several times. I had been going to therapy and Al-Anon meetings, or Alcoholics Anonymous meetings, for a year or so at that point, in an attempt to free myself from the codependent relationship that I was in with her, to start asserting my boundaries with her. And at the time, it felt like I was in a situation where maybe I should just bow out rather than trying to swoop in and fix everything and then be resented for it, which was the usual pattern. And guys, oh boy, my heart goes out to people in this situation. Let me very quickly say that if you're not being appreciated for what you're going out of your way to do to have a positive impact or effect in somebody else's life, bow the fuck out, Sometimes you can barely keep the balls that you have to juggle in your life, from hitting the damn ground. And some of those balls might as well be eggs, because once they fall, you can't just scoop it back up and make it happen. You really only get one go. So don't add other people's loads to your shit. You gotta worry about yourself first, because if you're not in correct order, then you really can't be stepping out to help anybody else. This is a sad situation because it's the mom. So of course you feel obligated to go out of your way and do these things, but to be resented for trying to help, and it's a cycle that continues over and over, come the fuck on. So I stayed home and tried to sleep through the night, and she killed herself. It was weird because even as I was trying to sleep, I was having broken dreams about getting into the car and going after her, stress, and in my dreams I saw myself going down the road where she had gone that night, even though it was a road I was not familiar with. In my dreams, she was going off on a vacation to take a break from her troubles, and she left down that road, headed somewhere unknown. I don't believe in a lot of woo stuff. What? But this happened, and I can't pretend that it didn't. So, make it whatever you want. Obviously, I had a lot of guilt over it afterwards, maybe worse by the fact that I had to admit to myself that I was feeling some relief as well, as everyone does. Hey man, I don't know how old some of you guys are, but if you've been on my channel for a long time, you've probably seen this one list I did where it was talking about parents of mentally disabled people, and how when some of those kids would just, you know, give the parents more than they could really handle. How they were saying, you know, if their kids were to die, that they would be a little bit relieved, is the scary thing. Michael Davis says Ted Cruz is the Zodiac Killer. Yes, that's the joke. That is the joke. That's why I put you motherfucker. That's why I put him there, guy. That's why I put him there. What? Let's continue this list. Obviously, I had a lot of guilt over it, made worse by the fact that, you know, I had to admit to myself that I was feeling some relief as well. At the age of 8, I had a dawning realization that my mom was either going to kill herself or be killed by one of the shady people she surrounded herself with. I didn't know much, or I didn't know which, but I knew that story wasn't going to end well. So when it finally happened 21 years later... Damn.
Much love and welcome back, YT family less than 3.
Well, Prelude, you know I appreciate that $7.21. What a strange number. But those strange numbers is what I live for. You know, don't conform. Rebel. Resist. Be an individual. I bet you no one here tonight will hit me with another strange number donation. I will put money on that. I say as I slam my hand against this table. As we continue this entry, I was kind of numb for a long time. I never cried about it. What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that noise? That was creepy. Was that like a notification of something? Kyle summons the tip jar. Your presence is requested. Oh, that was quick. Don't you have like a fade in thing that you can do? You don't fade in? You should fade in next time, you fucking tip jar. Somebody said they missed you the other day. I should get you the hell out of here, man. Just saying. Just saying, man. Oh, boy. Hey, one of my guys that I follow is going live. I should go say something to him for no reason. Let's see, subscription. Let's see if we can get away with his piano background while I read. Will this work without me having to put my information? What the hell? Why doesn't it let it work? You never let me work, damn it. Well, I tried, but that thing's not going through. So I don't care. I'm just gonna go ahead and use it, if you guys are fine with that. Oh boy. As we continue, we're gonna knock this motherfucker out of the park. It's about that time. Number 4. When my grandfather was 17, an old guy with dementia ran out in front of his truck and got killed. My grandpa was never charged with anything, since it was an accident, but my dad told me it messed him up for years afterward. Son of a beach. Son of a beach. Number 3. A friend from high school ran a red light while intoxicated and killed an old man. This was while he was still in school. Several years later, he was killed by a drunk driver. Life is strange. Life is strange. But not like that one stupid game with the white girls. You know the game I'm talking about. Fuck that game. We're not talking about the game right now. Let's continue. Please get that game out of your head. Stop thinking about video games all the time. Come on. Number 2. I've accidentally killed 4 people. I'm an engineer for a railway of the 4 deaths. Oh shit. He's an engineer for like a, trains. Of the 4 deaths, 2 were suicides, where both guys jumped in front of my train, and the other incident was a car that tried to get across from crossing before me and I hit him. You definitely delivered that funny. Before me and I hit him. You know what it was trying to say, but you read it like it was something else. Of the 4 deaths, 2 were suicides, where both guys jumped in front of my train, and the other incident was a car that tried to get across the crossing before me, and I hit him. Killed the driver and the passenger. Obviously, there was nothing that I could do in these instances, and was never my fault, but it still messes with your head a bit. CN pays for the therapy and such. They also gave me about a year off of work and paid my full wage. I think it's so strange that it won't let me donate to him. That's wicked strange, dude. You know? Why do you think it won't allow me to do that? As I don't know, man. And usually YouTube will let me know if there's some kind of like pop-up rejection. So here we go. Number 1 on this list, but I think there's one more list, reads as follows. I didn't kill him per se, but my mistake cost him his life. I served in the 12th Cavalry Regiment in Vietnam, 1967 to 1973. During this time, I had a friend named Roy. Roy and I were thick as thieves. From the time we met in basic training, we were inseparable. He grew up in rural Alaska to a truly awful family ridden with alcoholism, physical and sexual abuse. But he loved life, and we loved baseball, loved music. His favorite song was I Wonder Why by Dion. Playing cards, we were brothers. Well, since we were both very short, I was 5'7", he was 5'8", we were both tunnel rats. Tunnel rats usually went down alone, but occasionally 2 or more went down together. Whenever we needed someone, we always chose each other, like how kids always choose their friends for group assignments in class. Every day went fine until one day I forgot to cook my pistol before heading down. Cock my pistol. Without going into details, I was unable to fire my weapon when needed, and it cost Roy his life. At first I was numb and had to move on quickly. I was still in a war zone, there wasn't time to mourn. However, I felt much more lonely. I had plenty of friends, men who I would lay my life down for, but Roy was the best of the best. That man and I would do things for each other we'd do for no other man. Just about everyone in the company had one ride or die, and I lost mine. I was largely numb and bitter about it, but after I finally left the army in 1973, I deteriorated fast. PTSD and alcoholism was already a huge problem, and intense guilt over Roy's death finally followed. I'd spend hours a day just sitting and thinking about how I should have cocked my pistol. I'd get depressed, contemplate suicide, so to stop the pain, I would drink like a fish. The alcoholism, the pent-up rage, the inability to cope with normal life, the guilt, I searched for some sort of violent camaraderie, like in the military. So throughout the 70s, I spent most of my time in a bar or in jail. I hooked up with local gangs and loan sharks after a violent confrontation I had with my wife and very young son after a night of heavy drinking. I gave up alcohol and crime, but the sadness over Roy remained. Before we deployed, Roy fell in love with a woman and planned to marry her the day before we shipped out, but he got the date wrong and we left the morning of the wedding. And while we were in Vietnam, he learned that he had impregnated her. So this led me to, throughout the 80s, raising my own children with my wonderful wife, to constantly have intense guilt over robbing him of his wife and son. Around 1991, the Gulf War, a local kid in my neighborhood died, and it brought me back to the intense guilt and even alcohol. My wife told me I needed to address my guilt or it would kill me, and I agreed. 1 year later, I visited Vietnam Miyamoto. Okay. Sorry. I've got to deal with my own guilt, you know? Y'all don't know where this is from. That's the worst part. That y'all don't know where this is from. In the very early hours of the day when no one else was there, and found Roy's name. Seeing his name made me sob, because it solidified once and for all that Roy was dead. I wasn't able to attend his funeral, but it also brought peace in knowing at least his name would always be there to be seen, and people could always remember him even if they didn't know his story. I also found out that where he was buried in Alaska, and I was able to pay my respects to his grave alone. That was what really helped. I felt as though I was speaking to him personally. I made my peace. As for his wife and son, I regret to say, but I have not spoken to her since the day that we shipped out, in November 1967. I've never met his son, but his son has a Facebook that I look at regularly. His son is doing very well and is about 50 with a nice little family of his own. Now, I still have a box of mementos that belong to Roy, some pictures, a few other things. I also have journals that I title Letters to Roy, as I basically just write about my day and world events, as though I write a letter to Roy from Earth to heaven. It helps to feel as though he is seeing what I wrote. Well, now in 2017, I'm 67 years old. No one aside from my wife knows anything more than the basics about Roy. Talking in person is too painful. I like remembering about him in my head, not talking about him, because that always leads to the inevitable story of how he died. One of the reasons I like Reddit is because I can speak without actually talking. It's rehabilitative in a way. I still have nightmares. I still shed tears over what I did from time to time, but by and large, I've accepted what has happened, and I've come to terms with it. I've made my peace. I've reached that point where things about Roy bring smiles, not tears. For I know despite the pain of his loss, I'm a better man for having known him, and that the love we had for each other, the brotherhood we shared, never went despite Roy's loss and continues to positively impact me to this day. All that I hope is that when my day comes, I'll see him again and make amends in person. Oh yeah, binging my bong, y'all. When I was 12, I was babysitting for my family, or a family in my division. There were 2 little girls, 3 and 6, and a 5-month-old baby that I had the experience of babysitting, but wasn't great with babies. I was real nervous and not the most responsible adult in any way. Adult kid? What the fuck? The girl was sitting on the living room floor reading, and the baby started crying from her crib. I picked her up, took her into the kitchen to warm up a bottle of milk in the microwave. I simply dropped her. I've been over this 1,000 times in my head, and there is no other way I can explain it. I dropped her, and her head hit the floor. She was very clearly dead immediately. The weirdest part is how calm I felt. Like I turned into a robot. I told the girls to go to the basement immediately and called my dad and told him what happened. Then I sat at the kitchen table for 10 minutes while he came over. He drove the girls to our house to be with my mom, and then drove me and the body to the hospital. Obviously, nothing could be done. I was not charged because it was ruled an accident. There was a chance I could have been charged with criminal negligence decades ago, and I still feel it every day. I am a woman and do not think I can ever have children because of it. The family moved, but until they did, I had to throw up every time I drove past their house or saw one of them in the community. Yeah, guys. Sorry, the bottom line is, I've read this before on another sexy, outrageous Kyle list. Oh boy. So if you guys want some more of that, just search another list of mine and you'll see what's up. So yeah, I can't go down this one because I've already read it. So I think this, whatever this is, will be the final one. So here we go. Number 9 on this one. I didn't kill her. Wait, I read this one already. The fuck? Number 8. I was sad with being distraught. What? I thought about what went wrong and moved on. I know it'll happen again. I don't look forward to it, but I don't lose sleep over it over. Things go wrong in medicine. People die through the things we do, even if they are done perfectly. It's not the enjoyable part when somebody dies and little grieving is acceptable. You know? Little grieving is acceptable. Little grieving is acceptable. Ooh. A little grieving is acceptable. Acceptable. A little grieving is acceptable. But if you let every person that dies on your watch affect you too much, eventually you won't ever be able to return to normal. Eventually you won't ever be able to return to normal. Eventually you won't ever be able to return to normal. I said eventually you won't ever be able to return to normal. This is a stream now. Return to normal. Oh no! Oh no, I clicked out of it. What the fuck? Okay, I'm back. Hold on. Oh no. You know all that glitters is gold, guys. This gonna rule me. I ain't the sharpest tool in the shed. She was looking at her thumb with a finger and her thumb in the shape of a what? On her forehead. Y'all, I'm sorry. Let's continue though. Number 6. It really didn't bother me at all. In the moment, I didn't think about it. I mean, he was shooting at me and mine, so we fired back. We were ambushed in a supposed neutral area, and when I hit him, he dropped, and I felt nothing but relief. He didn't get any of us that day, so it was a good day. But when I came back, there was a mandatory counseling session lined up where I had to discuss my feelings about it. But I told them what I'm telling you now. It doesn't keep me up at night. Anytime I think about it, I just have to remind myself that this guy would have shot me and all of my friends without hesitation, then gone to my house and beheaded my entire family. On video. If it meant promoting his cause. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that a bitch? Number 5, guys. Feel like I've kept you longer than normal tonight. Just having a little fun. It's Dion. Oh. Seems Faith is leaving. Good nizzle Faith. Number 5. While I did not actually murder someone, my slow action or lack of proper action caused a stranger's child to die. While I was living abroad for a time, I encountered a little girl wandering out into a busy road. I was later told that her mother was apparently distracted by another kid, but I was not aware of this at the time. I clearly remember trying to push her out of the way of an oncoming car, but I did not push her hard enough because she was still struck, as was I. She died in the hospital, whereas I suffered spinal injuries. The mother, naturally, blamed me. But I don't really remember everything she said to me that clearly. I relive the day frequently. Even now, 7 years later, I tell myself, what if I had tried to pull her instead? What if I had tried to shield her? What if I had done nothing? I keep trying to think of another way it all could have happened that means I don't have to think about it anymore. That day caused a lot of things in my life to change for the worse. I broke up with my then girlfriend, my health suffered. I distanced myself from my already strained family relationships. I can honestly say that if it wasn't for my girlfriend that I have now, I would have ended my life by now. I could go on, but that's pretty much the gist of it. Pretty much the gist of it. On my big ball, that's pretty much the gist of it. I said that's pretty much the gist of it. That's pretty much the gist of it. You're so far away, Rhea. This is a really sexy little medley that he's put together. Come on. Yeah. Come on. Here we go. Number 4. I've used this account a few times to talk about this, so some of you may have seen this before. Well, since the number of people in my life who know about this is very small, I found it helpful to talk about it here in the past. It was actually 2 guys. I shot both of them with my AR-15. One guy 3 times, the other 4. It was about 3 a.m., but I was still up trying to get some work done for the next day. I heard the sound of broken glass hitting the wooden floor in my living room and knew something was wrong immediately. My girlfriend and my dog were both asleep in the room with my niece and nephew asleep in the room across the hall. I was watching them for the weekend. I woke my girlfriend quietly and told her to stay quiet and call 911. I had my carry gun still on me from earlier that day, but I decided to grab my rifle. I could hear the crunch of the broken glass under the feet of the guys downstairs. Had it just been my girlfriend and I in the house, at the time I would have stayed put. But with my niece and nephew across the hall, I didn't want anyone coming upstairs. I positioned myself at the top of the stairs and stayed quiet, hoping that they'd just take my TV and games and console and leave from the living room. After about a minute or 2, one of them moved into the downstairs hallway and started heading towards the stairs. I stood up to where they could see me, pointed my rifle at them, and yelled for them to get the fuck out of my house. Before I even finished saying that, one of them raised the pistol and started shooting at me. I didn't see him draw, so he must have had it in his hand, and I didn't notice it. What a bucket of bing bong. Finn just got up and walked away. What the fuck? All right, look, I'll put the music back on. I swear, I shit you not. He's like, I'm out of here. What the fuck? You'll get back in. You'll get back in. Oh my God. Happiness is where he just left. Okay. Well, I don't even feel like doing this anymore. You know why? Because I've read this one before. But hey. I would never do that to you. Before I even finished saying it, one of them raised a pistol and started shooting at me, and I didn't see him draw, as he must have had it in his hand, and I didn't notice. I returned fire and hit both of them several times. Once both guys were down, I just kept my rifle on them and didn't move. I fired 12 shots with 7 hits. They fired 6 shots at me, but they all missed. 2 bullets were recovered from the bookcase I was standing behind. The police arrived about 10 minutes later. When I saw the lights outside of the house, I lowered my rifle, cleared it, and leaned it against the wall. I also took my carry gun and left it beside my rifle. While I don't regret what I did, I do look back on it and think about how I made some stupid mistakes, and about how I could have happened to be my and about what could have happened to my girlfriend, niece, and nephew if I had been injured or killed. I should have noticed the guy had a gun. You know, hey guys, I love y'all to death, but I'm gonna say something like this. This whole yelling out, hey, I have a weapon and you need to get out of my house bullshit. Nah, man, put him down. These people know where you live, you know, and they were willing to break into your house. Fuck them. Fuck them, you know? So unless you're worried about your fucking family being the ones that broke in and you don't want to kill them, you don't need to yell out, hey, I have a weapon, you better get out of here. Dude, what's going to stop them from coming back? What's going to stop them from coming back, bro? Nothing, that's what. Fucking nothing. Fucking nothing, bro. Did somebody say, sorry. My throat feels kind of funny. I should finish this before things get particularly outrageous. Wait, he went somewhere, but now he's back. Is he? Look, let's go ahead and beat the rest of this list up, because the majority of it seems to have been deleted anyway. And the comedy is, I feel like I've read this in the past, so those of you who have been around for a while can appreciate and remember that Kyle time. Know what I mean? Yeah. What? Yeah. I was 18. I'm sorry. I'm done. Okay? Okay. I was 18, and back in my hometown from college to host an awards banquet for a local Boy Scout group. It was my OA's Lounge annual banquet, if you know what I mean. I was driving along a mixed-use highway. What the fuck does that mean? That's a highway where the speed limits are 45, but there's a lot of business, there's a lot of businesses and so forth on either side, usually with a stop sign or a light to get on the highway. Okay, yeah. What? Yeah. So I'm driving. Stop. So I'm driving along to pick up my +1 from the banquet, which incidentally I was hosting. Okay. So when someone decides to stop, or someone decides the stop sign to get on the highway doesn't apply to him. Bing bong. I T-boned his car, going about 40 miles an hour. The speeds were such that the grill of my truck got stuck in the side of the car, and we got spun 90 degrees to the left, just in time for the guy tailgating me to hit my driver's side. I didn't realize a third car was involved until I tried to get out. Having an airbag go off in your face is quite disorienting. Anyway, I crawl out of my passenger side, realize I'm in my Boy Scout uniform, and ask if I can render medical assistance since, first aid and all that. This is when the driver of the tailgating car decides the accident was my fault and jumps out to try and clean my clock. I should mention that at the time I was 5'9" and probably around 130 pounds. This guy had at least 6 inches and 100 pounds on me. If it wasn't a serious situation, it would have been comical. Dazed and wobbly Boy Scout is offering to perform first aid while an angry driver twice his size is hoping to turn him into paste. Lucky for me, one of the bystanders was an off-duty EMT who was already on a cell phone with 911. He jumped between until and got the guy back off. Cops and ambulances show up shortly after. The guy that had tried to fight me off got arrested for road rage and went to jail for 6 months. The guy that ran the stop sign died on impact. I didn't feel bad for him. The ones I did feel bad for were the grandkids in the stop sign runner's car that got carted into an ambulance, blood running down their face, screaming for mommy because they didn't understand what was going on. Their mom was in the passenger seat and suffered a concussion, so she was in a different ambulance, but the person I felt most bad for was the dead guy's wife, who was in her early stages of dementia and couldn't understand why they put a sheet over his body instead of putting him in the... Oh, shit. The whole experience was pretty surreal, almost like I was watching a movie, than really being there. I didn't feel guilty afterwards, which I suppose was good because everyone and their cousin felt the need to tell me it was their fault, or my fault. I think that was the worst part. Everyone wants to tell me it's okay or going to be all right, or it's not your fault, when you're just trying to go back to your normal life. But the thing I took away from it was this. You don't drive safe to keep yourself from being injured. You drive safe to keep your spouse of 50 years from weeping on the side of the road when she realizes you aren't coming home ever again. All right, boss? All right, balls? Well, guys, that was a list. How'd you feel about it? How'd you feel about it? Sweetie Pie says her grandma passed away today. That sucks. And I'm sorry and hope that you have the strength to kind of navigate the obstacles that will put themselves in your path as you transition out of this portion of your life. Bing bong. So my strike on YouTube has been lifted and now I can stream again. Happy day, right? Oh boy. I think it'll go like this. I want to stream games a lot, but I know that some people don't particularly care about that. So maybe I'll keep that on Twitch. And I'll keep the lists going here. Unless you guys feel that something otherwise should happen. I love you. Yesterday's list will go up as well. It's just editing itself right now. Which is kind of weird. Anybody have anything they want to get off their chest, to talk about, feel like they need advice for? I think I'll try to end all streams with that, so that you don't feel alone. Aaron Deere says, Kyle, are you doing the Blossoms event? Stripes asks, are you streaming Monster Hunter on Twitch? I should, you know, because the event is live. I should. But are you all okay? Thank you for coming out to this stream. I know you're all busy people with crazy lives. Night Solaire says, I drove drunk after a party recently. I feel like shit for even doing it. Scold me so I don't feel like I got away with it. You didn't get away with it, dude. And anytime anything happens, you're going to know that that could have been you. Or worse, it could have been you that ruined somebody else's life, because a lot of drunk drivers get away with what they did, in that even if they're caught, they're slapped with small amount of a class or community service or some bullshit like this. But the reality of it is, you know, people are going down. People are getting hit by drunk drivers, and that's their life. And there are things that are worse than death, as strange as that is to say. Some people are paralyzed where they can't use their limbs. You know, who knows what they could have had in their future. It's not just about being an athlete or playing a musical instrument where you need your limbs. Like, dude, you're taking a portion of their life away. Let's not even talk about brain damage or a concussion or the types of things that make these people like actually fucked in the head, you know? But the rude part is they'll never be as fucked in the head as hard as you are for thinking that driving drunk was a smart thing to do. You know, and if you're going anywhere and you're intending to drink, you need to establish something in the way of a secure ride home or a designated driver first, because it's not something you need to fuck around on. I'm very sorry that's what you chose to have go down, boy. People are saying that I should go play Monster Hunter. Man, I guess I could play it now. But should I even jump off of YouTube? That's the real question. That's the real question. Yes, I will jump off of YouTube, because in the past, let's talk about it. Let's talk about this. In the past, when I have played games after the streams, it fucks up the video in a way where when people try to watch the stream afterwards, it like plays from an hour or two into the stream as opposed to the very beginning. So, you know, I would like to stay here, but I don't think that makes sense for me to try. Yeah. So what I'll do is, let me quickly gather my information that I need for the Twitch stream. Aaron Deere says, can Rich and I join you? Yeah, do whatever you want, nerds. Let me get into my shit here. Guys, I love you to death. I should thank my sponsors for being amazing. I want to thank my patrons for being just as incredible. And I want to thank all of you for not only being here, but for being on Twitch during that ridiculous little scary "you're banned" from YouTube streaming portion. But I think it made it clear to me, made it apparent that we should always be ready for some shit like that to go down. So if you guys aren't a member of the Discord and you want to be a part of that family that we have trying to get going on, go ahead and go into the description. There should be a little link and we can sort things out from there. I'm honestly like not so sure where to find my stream key on the Twitch dashboard. Which is like stupid. Why'd they make it this damn difficult? Where the fuck? So I guess I'm searching Google for this information now. What the fuck? I did it before. Oh my god. You know what? Now I have to use the bathroom. So guys, I love you. I'm shutting this stream down. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow. For those of you who are interested in the game stream that I'm going to be doing now, just jump over to twitch.tv/Kyle and we'll go from there. Oh my god. I love you. And I'll see you soon. Give me a couple of minutes because I'm going to run to the bathroom. And you'll see me back up on stream on Twitch. Love you. See you soon.